I'm submitting a second video as documentation of why these polygons should not be moved in the boundary review process by Howard County Public Schools. So this red dot here, that's my home. I'm in one of the affected polygons. I didn't put the polygons on here, but they're essentially these neighborhoods here that we're talking about. They're all the neighborhoods north of Owen Brown Road and south of Hickory Ridge Road. And this shows why they really shouldn't go to Bryant Woods Elementary School. When you look at the polygon maps that were created by the county, they don't really show things like commercial deserts that are separating these neighborhoods. You have Meriwether, which is a large region here. You have the mall. There are some apartments in here somewhere. I don't know where they're districted to. You have the community college here that takes up a lot of land, and then you have the hospital. Kids don't live in this area, more or less. There's some apartments in here. There's some apartments by the mall. But more or less, this large area, these large polygons to the north of us, don't really have kids living in them. And I'm sorry, there are kids who live in them because there are these apartments, but largely they're not residential neighborhoods. They're downtown Columbia, right? We all know them as downtown Columbia. Even this area here, it says Zips Dry Cleaning. This area is pretty commercial. This pink that I drew is approximately Little Patuxent Parkway. So you probably know that is a very busy road. This pink here is Broken Land Parkway. This pink here is Hickory Ridge Road, which is busy, but maybe you don't know it quite as well. It really just connects Broken Land to Cedar in the same way Little Patuxent does. I think the main users are people who live on it and probably people going to the community college. And then we have Cedar Lane here. So we are being redistricted from here up to Bryant Woods Elementary School. So our kids will be completely isolated. Now, there might be Bryant Woods Elementary School kids down here already. I'm not sure. There's an apartment complex in here. I don't know where those kids go. I've never understood why they don't go to Clemens Crossing. They're much more a part of our neighborhood than they would Bryant Woods Elementary School. And one of the maps, I saw that they were at Running Brook. Running Brook's way up here. I don't understand where these kids go to school or why. And then there's a neighborhood over here around Hawthorne Park, and I think those kids have been going to Swansfield. So Swansfield I drew here too. It's actually easier for me to get to Swansfield than it actually is for me to get to Bryant Woods Elementary School. Bryant Woods Elementary School is in a lovely little neighborhood and community over here by the lake. There's not a lot of easy ins and outs because it's kind of buried in the neighborhood, the way our current elementary school is Clemens Crossing. Of course, Clemens Crossing is buried in our neighborhood. We're being asked to leave our neighborhood and go to Bryant Woods Elementary School. By the way, the quickest route for me to get there is to actually go past Swansfield. So I'm going to show you that a little bit over here. I might come back to this map. So over here, I've kind of drawn on where approximately Bryant Woods Elementary School is. Here's Clemens Crossing. Here's Atholton High School. So right here, this is 32, and then this is 29. Our neighborhood, as I've always seen it since I moved in 11 years ago, is bounded on four sides by 32, which is right here, 29, Hickory Ridge Road, which is right here, and Cedar Lane, which is right here. Okay, it forms a nice neighborhood. There's only really four ways out of this neighborhood. Okay, so from where I live, I always have to go south, and I have to go to Owen Brown Road. And from Owen Brown Road, I can go out onto Cedar Lane, or I can come up and go to Hickory Ridge Road. Those are my only ways out from where I am. It's going north, right? So Bryant Woods Elementary School is north. So I'm essentially going to have to go south to then go significantly east or west to then go north because there's no way out of the neighborhood going north, okay? Like you might think from where the polygons are that we're like connected to this neighborhood up here, but we're not actually. Like physically we're connected, but there's woods. There's no way out from these neighborhoods onto that road other than right here, okay? So I drew that kind of here. These are the polygons affected. All of us will have to go south and then we'll pretty much either have to come out here at the traffic circle on Martin Road and come up here, and then go through the town center up to Bryant Woods Elementary School, where we're going to have to snake through their neighborhood to get to that elementary school. Or we're going to have to come out over here on Cedar Lane, go up past the hospital, take a right at Swansfield Elementary School, come around, and go to Bryant Woods Elementary School. Many of us are familiar with this drive because our kids go to Wild Lake Middle School. Wild Lake Middle School is right here, which is fine for middle schoolers. I don't think this is fine for elementary schoolers. So instead, my neighborhood, which I consider in this green box, the other reason I consider this my neighborhood is we only have 2 outs up here. There's actually really only 2 or 3 outs down here too. There's the Seneca Drive exit onto 29. And then there's 1 or 2, I think there's 2 exits, one by Giant and one further south onto Cedar Lane. Okay, so it makes a very nice community. Kids in this neighborhood, they bike and walk to each other's houses. They bike and walk to our village center. This is our village center here. It's the Hickory Ridge Village Center. They bike and walk to the playground and the pool at Clemens Crossing. It's very central to our neighborhood. They can go to the fields at Athelton High School, which is less central, but it's still there. And from my house to Clemens Crossing, it's actually less than a mile walk. My kid has walked it since kindergarten. Not every day. They send a bus for some reason. I'm not sure why, because we are less than a mile. So he does, but at least once a week he's walked. Much of the year when he can, he bikes. Since 2nd grade, he's biked by himself to Clemens Crossing. It's a very safe neighborhood and a very good community. It's a cohesive community. I don't want to judge the people in the community, but it's just a cohesive community where you can bike to school easily. But instead, we are going to, through this redistricting plan that was pushed through yesterday, these ones here, these folks here, are going to be sent over here, through downtown Columbia, over through somebody else's neighborhood to Bryant Woods Elementary School. And that, I don't see how that can make sense for elementary school kids. I don't actually think it really makes a lot of sense for middle school kids even. I've always thought it really odd that we have to go through all this commercial area that's pretty much devoid of residential activity. I mean, other than there are some, but it's just, it's not really residential to go to our middle school. But there isn't a middle school down here. I don't even know where the closest middle school is. I will say from our experience, I actually feel more connected to this community over here. This is Oakland Mills, and Athelton Elementary School is right here. Because we can actually just easily bike over to Athelton Elementary School. My kids do that. Sometimes there's some playgrounds and parks. And I guess that's another point is that I moved to Columbia to be a part of these village centers, to feel like there's a community. And this is a village center right here. And you guys are ripping it apart. There's a perfectly good elementary school all these kids could go to. And you're ripping it apart, and I don't understand why. And you're sending us through at least 2 other village centers to get to a new elementary school, right? So we either have to go through Town Center, which is right here, right? So we have to go from Hickory Ridge Village Center to Town Center to get to Wild Lake. Oh, sorry, that's Wild Lake Middle School. Our elementary school is actually going to be farther than our middle school, which I felt like our middle school was actually too far away. Up here to Bryant Woods Elementary School, which is in Wild Lake Village Center. Or we have to go here past Swansfield, right, which is in Harper's Choice. So we have to go through the Harper's Choice Village in order to go to our elementary school in the Wild Lake Village Center. I don't think you guys really considered what the neighborhoods actually look like in making this decision. And I hope this educates you and makes you realize that these polygons here really should be going to Clemens Crossing Elementary School. They should be walking to Clemens Crossing Elementary School. They shouldn't be sitting on a bus going through all of this commercial area to get to Bryant Woods Elementary School. So thank you for your time.